Thank you for joining me today as we talk about a safe and respectful learning environment in the Washoe County School District. The Department of Civil Rights Compliance is unique to the Washoe County School District. Judy Pretzman is the department's director and also the district's Title VI and Title IX coordinator for purposes of complying with federal law. She is also responsible for ensuring that the district complies with the state's anti-bullying laws. The Department of Civil Rights Compliance is part of the district's Office of the General Counsel to ensure that issues related to bullying, discrimination, and harassment in our schools are approached from a legal perspective while keeping our students' safety and well-being in mind. The department supports school administrators with complaint resolution and the appeal process, develops training, and provides investigative support to schools. Through this course, you will deepen your understanding of the laws and district policies that address bullying, harassment, and discrimination. Review the behaviors that are prohibited by law and district policies, and develop an understanding of your mandatory reporting responsibilities as a district employee. All school districts in Nevada are required by state law to provide a safe and respectful learning environment for students. Chapter 388 of the Nevada Revised Statutes addresses how schools are required to respond to incidents of bullying, cyberbullying, and discrimination based on race. Providing a safe and respectful learning environment results in better student learning outcomes because students are ready to learn when they feel safe and supported at school. Our efforts to ensure a safe and respectful learning environment in our schools supports Washoe County School District Strategic Plan Goal 3, Safety and Belonging, and also helps protect the district and its employees from liability and lawsuits. So, what are the prohibited behaviors and how do we recognize them? Bullying is an act which has the effect of harm or the threat of harm to a person or their property. An imbalance of power or presence of a protected class, such as sex, race, or religion, is often involved. Cyberbullying is bullying through the use of electronic communication. Harassment is unwelcome conduct that is based on a person's race, color, national origin, ancestry, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, sex, or any other distinguishing characteristic of a person. Discrimination is distinguishing treatment of an individual based on their actual or perceived membership in a certain group or category in a way that is worse than the way people are usually treated. Retaliation is an adverse action, for example, payback, retribution, or revenge, taken against an individual for engaging in protected activity, such as making a report of bullying or participating in a school site investigation. For the purposes of this training, the term bullying will often be used to include all forms of cyberbullying, harassment, and discrimination. There are district policies and regulations that address the topics discussed in this training and contain detailed definitions of discrimination based on race, bullying, and cyberbullying that mirror Nevada's anti-bullying law, and a definition of harassment. Administrative Regulations 5701 and 5702 contain step-by-step procedures for handling reports of bullying related to student-on-student and staff-on-student bullying. There are two federal laws that interact with the district policies and state laws prohibiting bullying and discrimination based on race. Title VI prohibits discrimination or harassment on the grounds of race, color, or national origin in our schools. Discrimination based on race can take many forms, including racial slurs, taunts, stereotypes, or name-calling, as well as racially motivated physical threats, attacks, or other hateful conduct. The act or acts do not need to target a particular student to create a hostile environment and thereby be considered discrimination based on race. Title IX prohibits sex-based discrimination and harassment in our schools. The district's Administrative Regulation 9201 outlines the district's Title IX grievance process that ensures schools respond in a prompt and effective manner to end discrimination and prevent its recurrence. Conduct that involves discrimination on the basis of race or sex-based harassment or discrimination will usually also fall under the definition of bullying. Under Title IX, discrimination based on sex may exist in situations involving inequitable treatment or exclusion from participation. Sexual harassment is also a form of discrimination based on sex, when it takes the form of hostile environment harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, stalking, and quid pro quo harassment. Hostile environment harassment is unwelcome conduct that is so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to the district's education program or activity. Examples of conduct that could possibly create hostile environment harassment include inappropriate touching, sexually suggestive jokes or comments, and graphic, sexually oriented jokes or photos sent via text or posted on social media. Sexual assault is defined as any sexual act directed against another person without the consent of the victim. Title IX also places rape, fondling, and incest under the umbrella of sexual assault. Dating violence between students who are or have been in a romantic or intimate relationship is also considered sex-based harassment, as is domestic violence between family or household members. Stalking is defined as engaging in a course of conduct directed at a specific person that would cause a reasonable person to fear for their safety or for the safety of others and suffer substantial emotional distress. Quid pro quo harassment involves giving or withholding something in exchange for something else. For example, a teacher might offer a higher grade to a student in exchange for sexual favors. It is important to understand the difference between bullying conduct and peer conflict. Bullying is deliberate, unwanted, aggressive behavior that is designed to hurt, insult, or threaten another person. Peer conflict typically involves a disagreement between equals or mutual aggression. When peer conflict occurs between students, both students have equal power in the relationship. While both people may be upset and emotional, neither is seeking power over the other. An imbalance of power can exist with bullying, where the student being bullied belongs to a protected class, a student is being bullied by an older student or adult, and when several students bully a single student. The district uses 3 criteria to determine whether bullying has occurred. Only principals or their designees are responsible for investigating a report of bullying, but this information is covered briefly here so you know what to look for. First, we ask, did harm or threat of harm occur? Was there an intentional act that caused physical or emotional pain? An intentional act refers to the individual's choice to engage in a behavior. If the behavior targeted a student based on a protected class, this criterion is met. Protected classes include race, color, national origin, ancestry, religion, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, mental or physical disability, sex, or any other distinguishing characteristic of the student. Next, we ask, was the action unwelcome? For this criterion, we look at who initiated the conduct, whether the alleged victim is afraid and avoiding school or certain areas of the school, and whether the alleged victim was an unequal participant in the conduct. The third criterion asks whether the action was severe, persistent, or pervasive. Severe behavior can be established with a single action, for example, a physical assault. Persistent behavior occurs repeatedly. Pervasive behavior is when the behavior is rampant throughout the school. When applying the third criterion, an action does not have to be severe and persistent and pervasive. It only needs to be one or more of these things. Always err on the side of reporting any incident where you suspect there may be bullying involved. Remember, the student doesn't need to say, "I'm being bullied." It is our responsibility to pick up on cues. As a district employee, you are a mandatory reporter for incidents of bullying, cyberbullying, and discrimination based on race. State law mandates discipline of any employee who knowingly and willfully fails to report possible incidents. As soon as you know or have reason to know that an incident of bullying may have occurred, you must report the information to the principal or designee as soon as practicable, but not later than the same day you received the information. An appropriate designee at a school site is an administrator such as an assistant principal. Reports of bullying do not go to counselors or school psychologists for the purpose of initiating an investigation. Counselors are integral to the support, intervention, and prevention process, but they do not conduct investigations of bullying. When you receive information about bullying, make sure the student or other reporter understands your responsibility as a required reporter. Never promise a student or other reporter that information will be held in confidence, and do not try to mediate the situation on your own. If any district employee receives information about conduct that may reasonably be sex-based discrimination or harassment in violation of Title IX, the district's Title IX coordinator must be notified. School site employees may report possible Title IX conduct to their principal, and the principal must promptly notify the Title IX coordinator. The easiest way to ensure the Title IX coordinator is notified of a possible Title IX violation is to send an email to title9@washoschools.net. When the school administrator receives notice of potential bullying, immediate steps will be taken to ensure the safety and well-being of the involved students. This is often referred to as a safety plan, and you may be asked to cooperate with certain aspects of the safety plan, such as enforcing a no-contact order between students. Administrators will also immediately notify the parents or guardians about the alleged bullying, then communicate with the parents and guardians of the involved students as they conduct an investigation of the reported incident. When the reported conduct possibly violates Title IX, the Title IX coordinator is required to contact the complaining party to discuss the district's Title IX procedures and offer supportive measures. Thank you for your attention to these important topics. Please submit any questions by scanning this QR code or submitting an email to title9@washoschools.net.